way to go, man.
Sorry.
Way to go.
How professional is that?
I still think coming out of that intro, I should be like jumping out of an airplane or something.
Yeah. Or like how wrestlers, when they come in for their match, they sort of come through with the music blaring, greeting the crowd, jumping into the ring. It's that kind of moment.
It truly is. And then literally that curtain drops and it's just you and I sitting.
Yeah. All right, everybody.
Well, hopefully we can liven things up as the month goes along, because as I've mentioned, this whole mess, the desks and all that behind me, everything's going this month. Everything's redone. The virtual studio is getting redone.
Fabulous. Of course, on Sunday we'll do a quick review of the week of the things that have gone well, things that we haven't done well, that sort of thing. So that'd be cool.
There's plenty in life I haven't done well.
Yeah. Okay, quick mention before we dive into today's topic. On the 13th, we will be looking at some cool tech, namely Synco microphones, which I believe you've got.
I do. Wait, where'd they go?
See, this is how well prepared we are.
There you go.
And I'm actually wearing one right now. Microphone is just there. This is the device, and it's transmitting to the receiver there, which is going into my laptop for the audio. So it's a test today to see how it works, how good the quality of the audio is. And on the 13th, we'll get back to it and we'll talk about it, how well it went, and all that sort of thing, uses and all that.
We should go backwards too a little bit. Yesterday, if people didn't see it, and you're looking for a cool tool, StageTimer.io. I love that simple little tool.
It is a really good tool, and yeah, we had it was a brief look, though it's not a complicated tool.
No,
but it's got some really good essential features that you need. So if anybody hasn't seen it yet, go onto our YouTube channel, go into the August 31st Daily Challenge playlist, and check it out.
And then today, we're talking about computers, and it may seem like a boring conversation, but I am a third-party planner, meaning that I work with associations, corporations, pharma companies, all that, to help them plan events and produce events. And one of the things that I see at every event I do are companies and organizations that don't give their staff the tools they need to succeed.
Yeah.
I cannot tell you how many times I've gone on site and there is some poor person working for some massive organization that has massive IT budgets, and they are giving them crappy computers with 4 gigs of RAM, and it actually hurts them horribly.
Yeah, I can imagine that. Yeah. The computers are things that you need to have, but you end up hating them because they don't do what you really, really need them to do.
Yeah, they're slow. They don't work. So with some people, they don't have any power over what computer they get from their organization, right? They just give it to them.
Yeah.
So I think with this episode for anyone who's out there who is an independent planner or has the ability to get their own device, sure, this is going to be a shopping list. But for anyone else, I think that this is a way to go to IT and say, hey, this is what I need. And the tools, and there are 2 computers we're going to share a little bit later, but they're not all that particularly expensive.
They're not these days. The prices of a decent laptop, and if you're going to client sites to do an event, you have to have a laptop. The prices are now very, very reasonable, and the specs are usually pretty damn good.
Yeah, the specs are really good, and I get it. Here in the states, we have an organization called CDW. It used to stand for Computer Discount Warehouse, but like a lot of big organizations, they just go in and they just blanket buy laptops, right? They go in and say we're going to need 500 laptops. We want Lenovo ThinkPads, and they get them with 4 or 8 gigs of RAM, and they hand them out to everybody.
But
People do different things. They need different types of computers.
that's the thing. And when you're bulk buying that sort of quantity, then you're looking at something that's cheap, because otherwise you're going to blow your budget. So you don't necessarily you'll get something, but not necessarily the thing that you actually need, or the
Yeah.
best thing that you need. So
Work with one organization who hired a new marketing person not too long ago, and literally from the last marketing person, that person got a 2015 MacBook.
wow.
It's almost a decade old. Then we work with another organization that they still have all of their employees on Windows 7.
Okay.
And here we are.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Well,
okay.
I was going to say, though age doesn't always come into it. I mean, you can actually pick up a laptop that may be 3 or 4 years old,
Sure.
but still fits the job. Still does what you need to do. It depends what you're doing. That's really what it comes down to.
Well, and I'm a Windows guy, right? But I have a 2015 MacBook Pro, because there are some, with what we do in events, there are some programs that only run on a Mac. Not too many anymore, but
Yeah.
it works fine. But I don't. It's not a daily driver, right? So literally, it's probably been out of its box 10 times.
Okay.
So it still runs really, really well. But if someone else were using a 2015 MacBook as their daily driver every single day, and then they handed it to the next person 7 years later, that is not going to be the best computer in the world.
Yeah. So let's break this down then into hardware, things like memory and the CPU, the processors that you kind of should have, and then maybe into software like operating systems.
Other way around. Let's go
All right.
operating systems and then
All right, let's do operating systems first. Okay, so these days,
actually, first off is what type of computer should you get, right? Because there's
as I said,
desktop and an all-in-one.
well, the thing is, if you're doing client visits or you're going on site to do something, then surely the only option you've got really is a laptop, because it just makes it so much easier to carry around.
For 90% of people, 95% of people, I think a laptop is the way to go. But there are specific use cases, right? What do we use all-in-ones for? The reg desk, right? When we go on site and you're at the registration desk, we actually bring all-in-ones, just because, not for any particular reason other than it's just everything in one box, right? It's got the monitor.
So these all-in-ones have got touchscreens. So when it comes to actually using it, you don't have to fiddle around with the mice, and you may not have enough desk space. So just poking the screen to get things done. Actually, that's not a bad idea. I like that.
No, it does work very, very well. Then for desktop, like for example, again, our show is aimed for planners and people that organize events. But if you have anyone on the creative side, right? If you've got a graphic designer, you have a video editor, you have anybody like that, desktop probably is the way to go, because they need power, and those just have power.
But the beauty of a laptop, and one of the main reasons I like using a laptop, is the fact that if the power goes, and if you're in a big event in a big hall, which I'm sure power cuts happen at the most inopportune time, with a laptop, that's not going to be a problem. Everybody else that lose power, your laptop's still going to be on.
Except for that organization that never upgrades anyone's computers, and after a while, when you pull the plug out of a laptop, it just dies.
Well, there's that. Yeah. There's that. All right. So if it's that old and the battery's rubbish, but then batteries can easily be, can easily be replaced. I mean, some laptops are like the built-in, you can never access them types.
Yeah, the new Lenovo's.
Yeah, I've got a Lenovo laptop, and I've no idea what a battery is.
Yeah. Well, even though I use laptops, I am very rarely battery only.
Yeah,
Uh, so I
yeah.
probably kill my battery by leaving it plugged in all.
And, we're not really talking about battery only because if you want the reliability, you want to stop the screen dimming and all the other protection features of battery only, you keep plugged in. But it's when the power goes. If you've got a desktop machine, then if the power goes, that's it. Anything you was working on is gone.
Unless we go down a rabbit hole and talk about uninterruptible power supplies. I have a
Yes,
battery.
but are you?
I have a
But
battery under my
yeah, but are you going to take that on site?
desk.
No. So that's the end of that discussion. All
Okay.
right. So,
So now let's talk about the flavors. The
yeah,
operating systems come in,
yeah,
right? You've got your Windows machines, you've got your Macs, you've got your Chromebooks or Chrome, because Chrome does come in a desktop,
yeah,
and you have Linux.
yeah. Linux.
Nothing wrong with it. I did, but it is definitely not the operating system for people involved in meetings and events.
Maybe. I may actually slightly kind of disagree because considering how much is now web based, you're not probably going to use an installed app that often. Okay. But the
Keep
thing is,
digging. Keep digging.
all right. But,
No,
but
you do actually make a valid point. With a lot of any organization that is in the Google ecosystem, right?
yeah,
They use Gmail for their corporate email or organizational email. They use Google Docs. They use anything like that. Linux is perfectly fine. However, if your organization is Windows based, right, and you use SharePoint, and because I would say 50% of my clients use Office 365 and are Windows based, then Linux is not going to do you any good.
I
Especially when
guess.
you have to install
Yeah,
Office.
yeah. I mean, if you're you don't want to be an outlier finding out that you've got to do all sorts of conversions just to make something work.
Yep.
And also, there's the people you work for or the company you work for might have a specific type of licensing going that they don't want to change or spoil or anything.
Yeah.
However,
Then
if
there's
you're
Chrome.
lonely, sorry.
Oh, let's talk about the two we don't recommend. Then there's Chrome.
Well, let's go. Yeah.
Because Chrome is lovely. Again, if you're in the Google ecosystem, it'll work. But they generally, for the low cost, don't have enough power to be your daily driver.
If you're traveling around a lot and you want to look a simple thing to use, and Chromebooks are fine. However, that's not what Chromebooks are aimed at. They're not aimed at they kind of are aimed at corporate use because of cost of ownership and the cost of maintaining it. However, you would choose something else.
Yeah. Now I'll give you our event use case, right? There
Right.
are use cases where we will use what is called a Chrome box, which is like their desktop. And we do use those at some registration desks. We do use them to automate some tasks around the event.
Right.
But no one is using it. The only time that I regularly use a Chromebook is actually if I go on vacation and it is a true vacation. I have a little 13-inch Chromebook I will throw in a backpack just in case I do need to access work.
Oh, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. There is another case for using a Linux-based operating system. I've got Ubuntu, and most of the things I've not yet come across something it can't do with something that's alternative. But if you're just starting out as an event planner and you're just starting to take on jobs, you may not have the budget to go for an all singing, all dancing Windows based laptop that does everything. You can actually buy maybe a second-hand laptop or get one cheap from somewhere that's a few years old, chuck Ubuntu on it or other Linux distribution, and you've got a very cheap, usable machine that will get you going. So when the budget allows, you can then upgrade into something that's more in line with what your clients are using.
I'll give you that.
Yeah, I think that's important.
And I install Linux on machines just for fun, right? Just to see what you can do with them. The operating system is fine. I have no idea why it is not more popular than it is.
I think it's history and background of being always only for techies because you type things at the command line. Ubuntu is my only daily machine. I've got a laptop with it installed on. I use it for everything.
Yeah.
Blogging, podcasting, video like we're using now. Restream's web-based. I've got a couple of Raspberry Pis that also run Linux operating system. It's good for me. It works for me. So
there you go. Now, and just because the other two are going to be the two popular ones, which are going to be Apple and Windows, which we're up to Windows 11 now. By far and away, so many people buy Macs and so many people don't know why they buy a Mac, right? Yeah. They buy it because it's pretty. They buy it, right?
Oh, they are pretty. They are very pretty.
They're lovely. They're lovely looking machines, but they are way overpriced for what
they are.
So for most people, Windows is going to be the direction you're going to go. Again, just with the organizations that I deal with, there is only one that uses all Apple products.
Oh yeah.
Just if you're in a group, just maintaining Apple, right, is because everything's tied to an Apple ID. It's a nightmare.
Yeah, I don't like Apple operating system because it's such a walled garden that tracks everything you do. But that's my personal kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, it has advantages and disadvantages, right? The advantages are because it's a walled garden, very little crap gets through, so you don't have anybody clicking on any. They're not downloading programs that are bad. I get it, but
yeah, okay. So
now we got to dive. So now we've settled on Windows, right? Most people are going to use a Windows machine.
Yes, okay.
The next thing is now there are the parts of the machine. When you go out and you look for a new computer, what do you need to look for, right? There is processor, there is memory or RAM, graphics card, and storage. Those are the four big ones. And when you go cheap on various parts of that, if you go out and find a $500 Windows laptop or a $400, you see them on Amazon all the time for $400, you're getting an older processor or a less powered processor. You're getting 4 gigabytes of RAM, right? You're getting integrated graphics. So what you get is a computer that once as a planner, you start opening Outlook and you have 50 emails open and you've got 20 spreadsheets open. It's not able to handle that, right? It starts at this where when we're on events, you see it, right? I watch my poor clients or the people that I'm working with alongside, I see them struggle. Whereas with my laptop, which by the way, my laptop was not this one that I'm using now is going to be the one I show you later, right? And it's not that expensive, but mine will chew through anything I throw at it.
This is the thing. When you buy something cheap, that's what you get. And it becomes... So you really want like a really large amount of RAM, good internal storage, whether it's an SSD, a solid state drive or a hard drive, and a good processor. But because it's so cheap, everything is the minimum amount compromise. For this money, we can only go up to this amount of RAM and this age of processor, and we can only put a storage device that's only 128 gigs, and you're going to run through that so quickly.
Yeah. So with processors, right? Think of a processor is. I'm trying to think of an analogy. If it's a body, it's are you the fit in shape body that can run 5 miles or not, right? And so when you're looking for a processor, you'll usually see them as you see Intel inside, Core I, whatever. Um, we recommend that people only go with Core i7 or Core i9. Those are the two latest. In a pinch, do an i5. Never go for an i3. It's just too old. Programs now are they just need more processing power. And if
but the thing is, it's easy to quote the model numbers, and it becomes meaningless after a while. The thing is, the processor you need has to fit the job you need. So if you're doing video processing, big memory, fast processor. If you're doing, if it's only for doing like blogging and podcasting, you can get away with something that's not as powerful.
Yeah, but you're gonna find yourself in a situation. Let's say, okay, let's say you're in the marketing department, right? You normally don't. Okay, but all of a sudden you need to access a graphic design program, or you're gonna watch a big video. I think without going down a rabbit hole, if you just simply know i7 or i9, that's all you need to know, right? So
okay, fair enough.
On a shopping or AMD Ryzen, that's the AMD processors.
Yeah.
Ryzen 5 or above, right? So anyone who's out there making notes, just say processor, i7 or i9, AMD Ryzen 5 or above. And that's all you need to know about it.
Okay, cool. That's fine then. Yes. Keith says this, and that's the way it's going to be. All right, that's fine.
Memory.
But again, I say, if you're buying for yourself, you're going to have a budget. If you've got an IT department, you write it down on a piece of paper and say, "I want this," and let them sort that out.
Well, and I find with IT departments, if you go in and you sound knowledgeable, and you can show that the cost benefit, right? They'll listen, especially if they think you've done your homework.
Well, you can tell them the use case. I mean, these guys are not idiots, so they're not sort of like, they know about podcasting and doing video work, and whether you need to, whatever it is you need to do, they are already aware of it. They'll find you. You tell them the processor specs, and I'm sure they'll find something to fit, and they already know. So if you've got an IT department, you haven't got that much of a problem. If you're buying for yourself, then please do some research and educate yourself about what some of this actually means.
Sure, people do that.
Yeah, of course I do. Although Amazon is cheap. Anyway, so
RAM. We got to talk about RAM.
So RAM. Okay, you need lots of it, but probably not as much as you think you need.
And RAM is the brain, right? If the processor
it's not a brain, it's a memory.
Huh?
CPU is the brain. Memory is just memory.
I always have a problem with that because the RAM is actually what you're currently thinking, right? It is the brain, where it's the immediate. I don't know. I've always found that the RAM being the brain it's never worked for me.
That's it. We have a very educated audience, if anybody's watching, and they know the difference. That's the thing. I think most people, especially in the events industry, are actually fairly educated about computer specs.
Sure. Now.
So.
Now.
All right. Anyway, so most users will need something like 8 gigs of RAM to do most of the basic stuff. If you're doing video processing, you're going to need a lot more.
So minimum 8 gigabytes of RAM.
Yeah.
Right. Don't let your IT department, or when you go out and buy a cheapo laptop, don't go for 4. 4 is today, even browsers today Chrome eats up a lot of RAM, right? And when you only have 4 gigabytes, you are going to pay the price. and the price is going to be your productivity. Now, I have run entire virtual events on a laptop with 8 GB of RAM. I don't recommend it, and it was scary, right? But it can be done.
Yeah.
So 8 is the minimum, 16 is ideal.
Yeah. But don't get caught out with the idea that you need stacks and stacks of memory, because you can imagine 8 gigs is going to be up there, 16, 32, but the operating systems and the programs you use don't necessarily need much more than that. So the amount of money you spend is going to, it
Yeah.
won't be any advantage to it. So
Unless you're doing hardcore video editing or graphics editing or anything like that, then you don't need anything with 32 gigs of RAM, right?
hand that over to a third party and let them worry about it.
Yeah. So for most people, the sweet spot falls between 8 and 16. Because laptops are so inexpensive now, I just recommend going with 16, because if you an average person with a computer with a Core i7 or i9 processor and 16 gigs of RAM, you can do absolutely everything you want to do, and your computer will never get slow. It'll never, right? It will just
Yeah.
blaze everything you do.
All right. Let's do GPUs, graphic cards next, but there is a point I would like to make after that about upgrading. I'll keep
Okay.
it brief. But GPUs, this is what processes the video you see on the screen.
Correct. And most people are okay with what are called integrated graphics. So in your laptop, right, that you don't have a separate module that processes the graphics, right? The videos and things like that. It's done off of your RAM. So this goes back to the RAM thing. When you have a computer that has 4 GB of RAM and you start watching videos and they're integrated graphics, that's where that computer starts to go, whoa.
That'd be for the budget machines. I believe that the higher spec ones, they do actually have a proper video part to it, not just the CPU. But there's like the kind of video card that you plug into your desktop machine. That is like a module in the laptop. So
Yeah, that's
there's several times. But yeah, I mean, if you're going to be doing virtual events, hybrid events, you want a machine that can keep up with the video and everything else it needs to do in the meantime.
yeah. So basically, and they're going to come in two flavors as well, right? For Windows machines. For Windows machines, they're going to come in the NVIDIA graphics card or AMD. Either is fine for what we're doing. If you get hardcore graphic designers, video editors, they might only want NVIDIA.
Yeah.
And there are reasons for that, right? Especially video gamers, right? With video gamers, there are some video games that you try and play them on an AMD graphics card and they just don't work, right?
Yeah.
But for the average person, for what we do, either type of graphics processing unit is fine.
Yeah. And also, as I keep saying, you're working to a budget. Either the IT department will give you a budget, or your own personal finances determines the budget. So it's all a matter of trading off, features and what you can afford. But if you can get a really good graphics system built into it, the better it's going to be. All right. So before we get on to upgrades and what I want to talk about, let's talk about the storage.
So storage. Here's the thing with storage, right? We all remember the old hard drives, right? They're
Yeah.
little platter that spun, and they came in five. They started off with 40 gigabytes, then 80, and then now we're up to they're measured in terabytes. Most of your current laptops, if you have the option, do not go. If you see when you're looking at the advertisement and it says HDD, you don't want that, because that's an old-fashioned spinning hard drive. You want an SSD, which an SSD, do I have one laying around, is very similar to a flash drive that you put in. They're just faster, they're better, there's no moving parts.
That's why they're called SSD, solid state device.
something like that.
Yeah, Anyway, solid state. So the benefits of them are the access speed is really fast, and they're not as heavy as a traditional hard drive. So that makes your laptop a lot lighter to carry, and also very quiet.
Yes, and there's even newer forms of a solid state drive with the NVMe's, right? That are actually they're different, but SSD is what you just stay away from HDD. Anything other than that
Yeah,
is going
yeah,
to
yeah,
be faster and much more reliable, right? If you have something with moving parts, things with moving parts break at some point. A
yeah,
hard
yeah, yeah. And when it goes to capacity, try and get a terabyte because they're not as expensive as they used to be.
Yeah, I mean, obviously bigger is better when it comes to storage, but
Yeah,
here's one of the things I found, right? No matter what operating system you're using now, most of them are sending stuff to the cloud, right? So if you have Microsoft and Windows, it's OneDrive. Lo and behold, this thing is automatically backing up to the cloud. So you probably can get away with less than a terabyte if you take advantage of the cloud services. However, just get a terabyte.
yeah. Well, so upgrading. So you start off with a budget machine. You're actually limited. If you're doing a laptop, you're actually a little limited with what you can upgrade. So you probably can't upgrade the processor.
No, never.
Um, the GPU, the video subsystem, no, you probably can't upgrade that other also. So, but you can upgrade the memory. In most cases, you can upgrade the storage device, especially SSDs because they clip in, clip out. So that's fine. And also, you can start plugging. When you buy a laptop, make sure it's got plenty of USB connectors, please.
Well,
Lots of you.
but have you looked at the so I got a brand new Lenovo, right?
Yeah.
It has 2 and 1 USB-C. We won't even go into the USB ports, but so USB-C, or what do they call it? Thunderbolt, whatever now.
No, they're combined now, aren't they? It's the same sort of connector and cabling and stuff.
But one of those, right? You can now connect a bunch of stuff to it, like even monitors. So, but yeah, get as many USB ports as you
I
possibly
mean, mine doesn't have enough. I just heard a
can.
beep. I don't know where
Yeah.
it's come from. Did I make a beep? I thought I made a beep. Hold on. I don't know. Anyway, sorry. Yeah, my laptop has got HDMI, USB. That's it. 3 USB ports. And now I've got plugged in. I have to have an adapter for the 2 external drives, the USB microphone, the USB webcam. And I can't plug the printer in unless I unplug something. It's a pain in the bum. So yeah, and also external HDMI. Most modern laptops will have one because you may want to plug in a second screen.
Guess what, Linux guy?
No?
Well, here's the thing. A lot of your thinner, right? The new travel-y light laptops,
Oh yeah.
HDMI anymore. They have USB-C. So you've got
Ah,
it.
right.
So it's kind of macky, right? All of a sudden you need 8 billion dongles. But but I'm just making fun. But yeah, if you can get an HDMI, just get an HDMI port in there.
Well, the thing is, you need to make sure that yeah, all right. So you can run an external monitor on the USB port if you really wanted to, but then that's one less port available to you.
Yeah, well then you end up having to do what's called daisy chaining, right? Where you're chaining many things to one. So you've got the USB-C port, and a lot of laptops now, USB-C is your external monitor. It is also your power input. And then 8 billion other things you're plugging in. You're all plugging through that one little port.
Yeah. Actually, I've
It's
got.
still amazing to me that those things can do all of that, right? Because I'm
I
old school.
know. I know. It's
Yeah.
amazing what they do to make sure they spend minimal amount of money creating these things. But anyway, so you can have external webcams, external microphones. You can have external hard drives. You can use online storage services. So So even if you think you've not quite got what you wanted, but that's what the budget stretches to, you can upgrade either by external devices or upgrading the memory or storage device. So yeah, don't feel that you've bought you've made a massive compromise. There are ways of upgrading in the future.
Yeah, I mean, even super crappy laptops can be upgraded, right? What we do for a lot of like breakout room machines, right? Machines that run in a breakout room. You know, we will go out and get those CDW, Lenovo's that only have 4 gigs of RAM, and we'll
Yeah,
upgrade them to 8 gigs of RAM here. We'll just slap in 8 gigs of RAM, and they're fine for running PowerPoint, right? But you're not going to want that as your daily computer. So
well, again, it's down to purpose.
yeah. So
yeah,
now 2 recommendations on laptops. Love to make
right.
recommendations. The 2 brands, these are the 2 brands that I personally like. When it comes to other brands, the Dells of the world, I'm sure they're fine, but I just don't know enough about reliability in that. Like
Yeah,
we used to buy all HP machines, and we did because we knew what would fail, right? We knew that at X time, this on HP laptops, it's generally this that breaks, right? And so we knew that we would be able to fix it. But these 2 laptops that I'll recommend, have awesome reliability. Like I've now that I say something is going to go wrong.
it always does. Yeah, they've talked about it.
But with both of them, I've never had a problem. I mean, I've never had anything break. I've never had anything go wrong. The screens are all awesome. But the 2 brands are Lenovo and MSI.
Yeah,
But with Lenovo, the one that I recommend is the IdeaPad Gaming. So, and don't let the gaming name throw you off. Gaming just is going to be, it's out of the box. It's going to have more power than most other laptops. The nice thing about the IdeaPad Gamings is they're all black. They simply say Lenovo. There's no like weird dragons on it or anything weird. So I take it to meetings all the time. No one knows it's a gaming laptop. And then the other one is the MSI Katana, which MSI does have a little dragon logo, but it's subtle. Again, because this is used in a business setting. But again, right out of the box, they come with a graphics card. They come with 16 gigs of RAM. They come with a terabyte of SSD storage, right out of the box. And like the Lenovo, the Katana, for all of that is only $899.
quite impressive. Quite impressive indeed. Because if you get all of that for that sort of price level, it's pretty good.
Yeah, it's got Core i7. It's got 4 gigs of NVIDIA graphics RAM. It's got 16 gigs of regular RAM and a 512 gigabyte SSD. Not a terabyte, but 500 gigs is doable.
Yeah, that sounds good. That sounds good. Yeah, I think mine. I've had at least 2, maybe 3 Lenovo laptops. Always been very happy with them. Always. Even when things started to break, like the keyboard failed, I could plug in an external keyboard and it worked just fine.
Yeah, I've actually never had. I mean, honestly, I say this now, and tomorrow this thing is going to fail. But
Yeah.
I literally for all of our events, Lenovo IdeaPad Gamings, just they are so reliable.
Yeah. Just to point out, nobody from Lenovo's been in touch. We're not being paid for them. We just really like the product.
Although they have call money, if they want to pay me to actually promote their products, I'm all good.
Oh yeah. Please get in touch with them. It helps us keep going.
So here in the States, right? If you are lucky enough to live in Illinois, I am Chicago, Ohio. I don't know if you're lucky to live there. I think there are some in Texas, some in California, maybe. But there's a store called Micro Center over here.
All right.
That is primarily where we buy all of our machines, only because I have one that is 20 minutes from my house. Another option is, I think MSI and Lenovo here in the US can be found at Costco.
All right.
Which
That's big.
with Costco, you always get a good deal. So
Yeah. Well, that's pretty cool. Pilots, we come to the end of what we scripted. Not entirely scripted, but okay. So yeah, so if, it's a bullet list. So when it comes to buying a laptop, I would suggest, at least my tips would be, don't worry about the things that you can upgrade, but spend wisely on the things that you can't. So that therefore, that would be the video GPU, and it would be the processor, because memory and storage could be upgraded. So buy wisely on that side of things.
Go for 16 gigs of RAM. If you can, 8 will do.
Watch out for the USB port. Watch out for all the connectors that are on it, because when you're not, because some of them cut corners. Well, I say cut corners. They're trying to reduce the cost of manufacturing. Instead of having a decent amount of USB connectors, they'll give you like 1 or 2, and even then, it doubles up for everything.
Yeah. So, and if you have to go with a machine like that, like I love my IdeaPad Gamings, and it's only got 2 USB ports and a USB-C, just know that you're going to need the dongles. And when you have to buy the dongles, get them on Amazon, because if you go to your local Best Buy or whatever, they're going to charge you $50 for a dongle when you can get it on Amazon for $9.
And considering it is a dongle and it's easily lost, dropped into something, somebody swipes it, keep it cheap so it doesn't become a pain.
Buy 2.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Storage.
And storage. So go for, terabyte would be a great idea, but obviously that's something that can be upgraded in the future if you need to. I'm not even going to go into how you would reinstall the operating system on it. That's another for somebody else to worry about. But you can go for half the size.
500 gigabytes.
And you would be fine, because you can always offload data that you've got onto sort of hard drives on some online storage service like OneCloud or whatever. So there are alternatives to doing that.
And don't brand hop, right? Stick with the brand you know is reliable and works. For us, it's Lenovo and MSI. Like even the newest HPs or Dells, I won't even go near, only because I don't know that much about them, right? I know MSI.
And if you're working for a big company with an IT department, you might not actually have a choice. They'll say, okay, we only work with this brand because we get the cheap deals when we bulk buy. So therefore, how much memory would you like? So work with what you've got and upgrade. You can upgrade in the future.
There you go. All right.
So
that is computers for planners and people in the event industry.
Okay.
Tomorrow. What are we talking about tomorrow?
Tomorrow, yes, we're doing this on a Saturday tomorrow, which is all good stuff. Tomorrow, event binders.
Yes, getting rid of that old event binder. Using tech to pitch the event binder.
Absolutely. So that'll be day 6. So this is day 5. Day 5 of our 31-day daily podcast challenge.
Yeah.
Which is
I know we're going to talk the good, the bad, the ugly on Sunday, because we're going live on Sunday too.
Yep. Well, 31 days. Yeah, non-stop. So, so I would highly recommend that. Let me just get my list up. We should talk about tablets and their use within the event industry, because I find them really useful. Where are we going?
I actually don't find tablets that useful.
Really?
I think they're really good with specific use cases.
Oh, well, yeah. I'm going to be testing out how good they are when it comes to doing podcasts on remote sites. But anyway, if you enjoyed this, please give a thumbs up. Be daring and hit the subscribe button. Come and find us on the bullet-list.com website. Come and join us in the bullet-list
Facebook group.
You're giving me funny faces. I don't know what you're doing. On the Facebook group, we're there, which you can find updates about what the timing is of when we go live, which you can also get on the Event Planner News Facebook page, on the Planner Wire Facebook page. What else? I think that's it. Those are pages. And also YouTube. Please come visit us on YouTube, where if you're watching it on YouTube, then like and subscribe. If you're not, then go there and do it anyway.